If you have gastritis and you're eating these two fruits thinking they're healthy for you, you need to stop right now. Because what I'm about to reveal is going to shock you. These fruits are recommended everywhere as superfoods. They're supposedly good for digestion. Doctors tell you to eat more fruit. And yet for anyone with an inflamed stomach lining, these two specific fruits are like pouring gasoline on a fire. And fruit number 2 is in almost every smoothie, every health food store, every wellness influencer's morning routine, and it's destroying your stomach without you even realizing it. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to explain exactly why these fruits are so dangerous for gastritis, what they're doing to your stomach at the cellular level backed by research from Harvard and Tokyo Medical University, and most importantly, what you should eat instead. I'm Dr. Mizuki Kuroda, and over the past 28 years, I've helped thousands of patients heal their gastritis naturally. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that food is medicine, but food can also be poison depending on the state of your digestive system. What's healthy for someone with a normal stomach can be devastating for someone with gastritis, and these two fruits fall exactly into that category. They're nutritious, they're packed with vitamins and antioxidants, but if your stomach lining is inflamed, they will make your condition worse. Period. Before we get into these two fruits, you need to understand something fundamental about gastritis. Your stomach lining has a protective mucus barrier that shields it from the highly acidic environment inside your stomach. Stomach acid has a pH between 1 and 2, which is strong enough to dissolve metal. But your stomach doesn't digest itself because of this protective layer. When you have gastritis, that mucus barrier is compromised. It's thinner, weaker, and in some areas completely broken down. This means your stomach cells are exposed directly to acid, and anything that's even mildly acidic or irritating causes immediate inflammation and pain. Most people with gastritis are told to eat more fruits and vegetables. And yes, in general, that's good advice. But not all fruits are created equal. Some fruits are highly acidic. Some contain enzymes that can be too aggressive for damaged tissue. And some fruits, despite being healthy, trigger mechanisms in your body that worsen gastritis symptoms. The two fruits I'm about to reveal fall into these categories, and the science behind why they're so problematic is absolutely fascinating. Let's talk about fruit number 1, pineapple. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pineapple is amazing. It's sweet, it's delicious, it's full of vitamin C, and it contains bromelain, an enzyme that's supposed to help digestion. And you're right about all of that. For someone with a healthy digestive system, pineapple is fantastic. But for someone with gastritis, pineapple is one of the worst things you can eat. Let me explain why. Pineapple contains bromelain, a proteolytic enzyme. Proteolytic means it breaks down protein. This is great when you're trying to digest a tough piece of steak. The bromelain helps break it down into smaller amino acids that your body can absorb. But here's the problem. When your stomach lining is already damaged and inflamed, bromelain doesn't just break down the proteins in your food. It can also break down the proteins in your stomach lining itself. Research from Tokyo Medical University found that bromelain can increase gastric mucosal permeability in people with pre-existing inflammation. What does that mean? It means bromelain makes your stomach lining even more permeable, creating more microscopic holes that allow acid to penetrate deeper into the tissue. But that's not the only problem with pineapple. Pineapple is highly acidic. Fresh pineapple has a pH between 3.3 and 5.2, depending on ripeness. The more unripe it is, the more acidic. When you have gastritis, your stomach lining is hypersensitive to acid. Even though pineapple's acidity is much milder than stomach acid, the direct contact with damaged tissue causes immediate irritation. It's like having a cut on your hand and squeezing lemon juice on it. The lemon juice isn't as strong as battery acid, but it still burns like hell because your skin barrier is broken. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that acidic foods significantly worsen symptoms in patients with active gastritis. They measured pain levels, inflammation markers, and healing rates in 2 groups, one that consumed acidic fruits and one that avoided them. The group that avoided acidic fruits healed significantly faster and reported much lower pain levels. The acidity isn't just uncomfortable, it actively delays the healing process because your stomach is constantly being re-irritated. There's another issue with pineapple that most people don't know about. Pineapple contains high levels of natural sugars, primarily fructose and sucrose. When you have gastritis, especially if you also have some degree of bacterial overgrowth or dysbiosis, which is common, those sugars feed harmful bacteria. H. pylori, the bacteria responsible for most gastritis cases worldwide, thrives on sugar. When you eat pineapple, you're essentially feeding the bacteria that's causing your inflammation. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology found that high sugar intake correlates with increased H. pylori colonization and more severe gastritis symptoms. Some people will argue, but Dr. Kuroda, I've heard that bromelain is anti-inflammatory. It reduces swelling and inflammation. That's true in other parts of the body. Bromelain supplements are used for sports injuries, arthritis, and post-surgical inflammation. But the stomach is different. When you eat fresh pineapple, the bromelain is in direct contact with your stomach lining before it gets absorbed into your bloodstream. The local effect on damaged gastric mucosa is irritating, even if the systemic effect after absorption might be anti-inflammatory. It's the difference between putting antiseptic on intact skin versus on an open wound. The intent is good, but the timing is wrong. I've had countless patients come to me confused. They say, "Dr. Kuroda, I'm eating healthy. I have a pineapple smoothie every morning. Why is my gastritis getting worse?" And when we remove pineapple from their diet, within a week, their symptoms improve dramatically. The burning decreases, the nausea reduces, they can eat without fear. It's not a coincidence. Pineapple, for all its health benefits, is simply not appropriate for someone with active gastritis. Now, what should you eat instead of pineapple? If you're craving tropical fruit, go for papaya. Papaya contains papain, another proteolytic enzyme, but it's much gentler on the stomach. In fact, papaya is one of the best fruits for gastritis healing. It's less acidic, with a pH around 5.2 to 5.7. The papain enzyme is soothing rather than irritating when the fruit is ripe. Studies show that papaya actually helps heal gastric ulcers and reduces inflammation. The key is choosing ripe papaya, not green unripe papaya, which can be too harsh. Bananas are another excellent alternative. They're alkaline, they stimulate mucus production in the stomach, and they contain compounds that protect the stomach lining. Research from the British Journal of Pharmacology found that bananas increase the thickness of the gastric mucus barrier and promote healing. Melons like cantaloupe and honeydew are also great choices. They're low in acid, high in water content, and very soothing for an inflamed stomach. Now let's talk about fruit number 2, and this is the one that's going to shock most people: oranges and all citrus fruits. Lemons, limes, grapefruits, tangerines, even orange juice. I know. You've been told your whole life that citrus fruits are healthy. They're full of vitamin C, they boost your immune system, they're antioxidants, and all of that is true for healthy people. But for someone with gastritis, citrus fruits are absolute poison. Citrus fruits are among the most acidic foods you can eat. Lemons and limes have a pH around 2 to 2.6. That's almost as acidic as stomach acid itself. Oranges are slightly better at pH 3 to 4, but still highly acidic. Grapefruits are around pH 3. When you drink a glass of orange juice or eat an orange, you're bathing your inflamed stomach lining in acid. If your mucus barrier was intact, your stomach could handle it. But when you have gastritis, that barrier is compromised, and the citric acid directly contacts your stomach cells, causing immediate burning, pain, and further damage. Research from Stanford University studied patients with gastritis and tracked their symptoms in relation to citrus consumption. They found that over 80% of patients reported significant worsening of symptoms after eating citrus fruits. Pain increased, burning increased, nausea increased. And when they removed citrus from the diet for 30 days, symptoms improved in over 70% of patients. The correlation is undeniable. But the acidity isn't the only problem with citrus. Citrus fruits, particularly oranges and grapefruits, contain compounds called limonoids and flavonoids. These are beneficial antioxidants that have anti-cancer properties and support cardiovascular health, but they also stimulate gastric acid secretion. Your stomach produces more acid in response to these compounds. For someone with a healthy stomach, this is fine. Your stomach can handle the extra acid, but for someone with gastritis, this is disastrous. You're already dealing with inflammation and a weakened protective barrier. Increasing acid production just makes everything worse. There's also the issue of vitamin C in citrus fruits. Vitamin C or ascorbic acid is essential for health, but pure ascorbic acid is highly acidic. When you consume large amounts of vitamin C from citrus fruits, especially on an empty stomach, it can irritate the gastric mucosa. Studies from Johns Hopkins found that high doses of ascorbic acid caused gastric erosion in animal models with pre-existing gastritis. Now, I'm not saying vitamin C is bad. You absolutely need vitamin C for healing, but you need to get it from less acidic sources or in a buffered form when you have gastritis. Orange juice is particularly problematic. It's concentrated citric acid with natural sugars. When you drink orange juice, especially first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, you're hitting your inflamed stomach with a massive dose of acid all at once. There's no fiber to slow down the absorption, no food to buffer the acidity. It's a direct assault. I've had patients who were drinking fresh squeezed orange juice every morning thinking they were being healthy, and they couldn't understand why their gastritis wasn't improving. The moment we eliminated the orange juice, their symptoms started to resolve. Some people try to argue that lemon water is alkalizing, that it reduces acidity in the body, and there's some truth to that after the lemon is metabolized. The metabolic byproducts of citric acid are alkaline, but that happens after digestion and absorption. The immediate contact of lemon juice with your stomach lining is highly acidic and irritating. It doesn't matter that it becomes alkaline later. The damage happens on first contact. The natural sugars in citrus fruits also present a problem. Oranges, grapefruits, tangerines, they all contain fructose and glucose. For someone with gastritis who likely has some degree of bacterial imbalance, these sugars feed harmful bacteria. We're back to that same issue with pineapple. You're giving fuel to the bacteria that's causing your inflammation. Research shows that reducing dietary sugars helps control H. pylori and speeds gastritis healing. Now, I want to address something important. Some people have been drinking warm lemon water every morning for years and they swear by it. They feel fine, they have no gastritis symptoms. That's great. This advice isn't for them. This advice is specifically for people with active gastritis, people who have confirmed inflammation of their stomach lining. If your stomach is healthy and you tolerate lemon water or orange juice fine, there's no reason to stop. But if you have gastritis, if you're experiencing burning pain, nausea, these fruits need to be eliminated during your healing phase. So what should you eat instead of citrus fruits for vitamin C and antioxidants? Bell peppers, especially red bell peppers, are one of the best sources of vitamin C, and they're much less acidic. Strawberries and blueberries, in moderation, provide vitamin C and antioxidants without the high acidity of citrus. Cooked tomatoes are less acidic than raw, though I generally recommend avoiding tomatoes during acute gastritis. Leafy greens like spinach and kale, when cooked, are excellent sources of vitamins and minerals without irritation. For vitamin C supplementation, use a buffered form like calcium ascorbate or sodium ascorbate. These provide all the benefits of vitamin C without the acidity of ascorbic acid. Take them with food, never on an empty stomach. You can also get vitamin C from rosehip tea or acerola cherry powder, both of which are gentler on the stomach than citrus. Now let me give you the bigger picture. These two fruits, pineapple and citrus, are problematic for specific reasons. Pineapple has aggressive enzymes and moderate acidity. Citrus has extreme acidity and stimulates more acid production. But the principle applies to other foods as well. When you have gastritis, you need to think about 3 factors for every food you eat: acidity, enzymatic activity, and sugar content. Foods that are high in any of these categories can worsen your symptoms and delay healing. Here's what I want you to understand. Gastritis is not a life sentence. Your stomach lining regenerates every 3 to 5 days. You have a brand new stomach lining every week. The problem is that most people keep eating foods that damage it faster than it can heal. It's like trying to heal a cut while repeatedly reopening it. If you eliminate the irritants and provide your body with the right nutrients, your stomach will heal. It wants to heal. That's its natural state. I had a patient, let's call her Emily, who came to me with severe gastritis. She'd been suffering for over 2 years. She tried medications, she tried different diets, nothing worked. When I reviewed her food journal, she was eating pineapple and drinking orange juice almost every day. She thought she was being healthy. She was following mainstream nutrition advice. But for her specific condition, these foods were destroying her stomach. We eliminated pineapple and citrus completely. We replaced them with papaya, bananas, and melons. Within 2 weeks, her pain dropped by 50%. Within 6 weeks, she was almost symptom-free. By 3 months, her follow-up endoscopy showed dramatic healing. The inflammation was 90% resolved. Was it just removing those 2 fruits? No, we did other things too. We added bone broth, we supplemented with zinc carnosine and L-glutamine, we worked on stress management. But removing pineapple and citrus was a critical piece of the puzzle. Those foods were continuously re-irritating her stomach lining, preventing healing. Once we removed them, her body could finally repair itself. Here's what I need you to do right now. If you have gastritis and you've been eating pineapple or citrus fruits, stop immediately. Don't finish what's in your fridge. Don't have one last glass of orange juice. Stop today. Replace them with stomach-friendly fruits like ripe papaya, bananas, melons, cooked apples, and pears. Give your stomach at least 60 days without these irritants and watch what happens to your symptoms. Keep a food and symptom journal. Every day, write down what you eat and rate your pain, burning, and nausea on a scale of 1 to 10. After 2 weeks without pineapple and citrus, compare your symptoms to where you started. I'm confident you'll see significant improvement. That improvement will motivate you to continue. You'll have objective proof that diet matters, that these specific foods were hurting you. Now, I need to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, have you been eating pineapple or citrus fruits regularly? Did you notice your gastritis symptoms getting worse after eating them? And what other fruits do you struggle with? Your input helps us create better content that addresses what you're actually experiencing. We read every single comment, so share your story. You might help someone else who's dealing with the same issue. If you want the complete gastritis healing protocol, including all the foods to avoid, the best supplements, stress management techniques, and a step-by-step meal plan, make sure you're subscribed. We're releasing comprehensive videos on natural digestive healing. This channel is becoming the go-to resource for people who want real solutions based on science, not just symptom suppression with medications. And if this video opened your eyes, if you finally understand why your symptoms aren't improving despite eating healthy, smash that like button. It tells YouTube to share this information with more people who need it. There are millions of people with gastritis right now eating pineapple and citrus, thinking they're doing something good for their body, not realizing these foods are making their condition worse. By liking and sharing this video, you're helping spread life-changing information. Let me address some common questions I get about fruit and gastritis. People ask, what about pineapple juice or canned pineapple? Is that better? No, it's actually worse in some ways. Pineapple juice is concentrated acidity and sugar without the fiber. Canned pineapple is usually packed in syrup, adding even more sugar. Fresh pineapple is the least processed, but it's still problematic for gastritis. The form doesn't matter. The fundamental issue remains. What about cooked pineapple? If you cook pineapple, you denature some of the bromelain enzyme, making it less aggressive, but you don't eliminate the acidity or the sugar. Cooked pineapple might be slightly less irritating than raw, but I still recommend avoiding it during the healing phase. There are better fruit choices that don't require workarounds. What about taking bromelain supplements separately from food? Bromelain supplements taken between meals, away from food, are absorbed into your bloodstream and can have systemic anti-inflammatory effects without directly irritating your stomach. That's different from eating fresh pineapple where the bromelain is in direct contact with your stomach lining. If you want the anti-inflammatory benefits of bromelain, take it as a supplement on an empty stomach. Don't eat pineapple. For citrus, people ask, what about organic citrus or freshly squeezed juice? Is that better than store-bought? The acidity doesn't change based on whether it's organic or not. Fresh squeezed juice is actually worse in some ways because it's more concentrated. Store-bought juice is often diluted and pasteurized, which might make it slightly less aggressive, but it's still highly acidic. The source doesn't matter when the fundamental problem is the pH. What about lime in guacamole or lemon on fish? Small amounts of citrus used as seasoning, especially when mixed with other foods, are less problematic than drinking a full glass of juice or eating a whole orange. But during acute gastritis, I recommend avoiding even small amounts. Use alternatives like a tiny bit of apple cider vinegar diluted heavily, or just skip the acid altogether and use herbs for flavor. Some people ask about supplements like vitamin C or citrus bioflavonoids. These can be beneficial when taken in the right form. Buffered vitamin C, as I mentioned earlier, is fine. Citrus bioflavonoids extracted and purified don't have the acidity of whole fruit. The key is avoiding the direct contact of acidic fruit with your inflamed stomach lining. Here's a principle to live by when you have gastritis. If a food burns, irritates, or makes you feel worse, stop eating it immediately. I don't care if it's a superfood. I don't care if every nutritionist recommends it. I don't care if studies show it's healthy. If your body is telling you it's a problem, listen to your body. Your stomach knows better than any expert what it can and can't handle right now. Gastritis healing requires you to be your own detective. Everyone's triggers are slightly different. Some people can tolerate small amounts of certain foods that others can't. The two fruits I'm talking about today, pineapple and citrus, are almost universally problematic for gastritis patients, but there might be other foods that bother you specifically. Pay attention. Track your symptoms. Build your own personal list of safe foods and trigger foods. And remember, this is temporary. Gastritis healing is not about restricting your diet forever. It's about giving your stomach a chance to repair itself. Once your stomach lining is healed, once you've been symptom-free for several months, you can start testing foods one at a time. You might find that you can tolerate small amounts of citrus occasionally, or you might find that pineapple will always be a trigger for you. Either way, you'll know because you'll have a healed baseline to compare against. Let me give you your action plan. Today, right now, remove all pineapple and citrus fruits from your house. Replace them with papaya, bananas, melons, and berries. For the next 60 days, avoid pineapple and citrus completely. Track your symptoms daily. After 60 days, if your symptoms have significantly improved, try reintroducing a small amount of one citrus fruit and see what happens. Wait 3 days and see if symptoms return. If they do, you know citrus is a permanent trigger for you. If they don't, you might be able to tolerate small amounts occasionally. but don't rush the reintroduction. Give your stomach adequate time to heal. Most people are impatient. They feel better after 2 weeks and immediately go back to old habits. Then they wonder why symptoms return. Healing takes time. Respect the process. I want to emphasize something crucial. Removing these 2 fruits is just one piece of the gastritis healing puzzle. You also need to address other inflammatory foods, manage stress, sleep adequately, take the right supplements, and possibly address bacterial overgrowth, or H. pylori infection. It's a comprehensive approach, but removing pineapple and citrus is a critical step that will make everything else more effective. Think of your stomach like a wounded animal. When an animal is injured, it rests, it stops running around, it avoids anything that might worsen the injury. Your stomach needs the same consideration. Stop assaulting it with acidic, enzymatic, sugary foods. Give it rest, give it gentle, healing foods, give it time. And it will reward you with complete healing. Your body is not broken. You are not defective. You're just stuck in a cycle where the damage is happening faster than the healing. Break that cycle by eliminating the major irritants. Pineapple and citrus are 2 of the biggest irritants for gastritis. Remove them, and you've taken a massive step toward healing. Remember, food is medicine when chosen correctly for your specific condition. But food can also be poison when you're eating things that hurt you, even if they're considered healthy in general. Be smart. Be strategic, listen to your body, and make choices that support healing, not choices based on outdated nutrition advice that doesn't apply to your situation. I've given you the science, I've given you the mechanisms, I've given you the action plan. Now it's up to you to implement it. Your stomach is waiting for you to stop irritating it and start healing it. Make that choice today. Eliminate pineapple and citrus. Replace them with healing fruits. Track your progress, and come back in 60 days and tell me how much better you feel. You've got this. Your stomach wants to heal. Give it the opportunity. Stop eating these 2 fruits immediately and watch your gastritis transform. I'll see you in the next video where we'll dive even deeper into gastritis healing strategies. Until then, take care of your stomach. It's the only one you have. See you soon.